Good evening, everybody, for yet another episode of Wine Shine Quarantine. And I thought that, every evening I sit doing this show with a cup of coffee, but I said, you know what? It's called Wine Shine Quarantine. So tonight I'm going to do it with a glass of wine. So just to prove that I'm living up to, not that I've had it, but I've got it and I will along the show. It's called Wine Shine Quarantine. And the idea was to have a glass of wine with your friends and hear their thoughts. That's how this whole story started. And when I started talking to my friends, I realized that, my God, this is one hell of an inspirational story because clearly I make the right choices. So today, yet again, I decided to bring a friend of mine on the show, also my partner in crime, who was my biggest supporter and my media partner in the book that I launched, which was called ShaliniSays Women on Top of Their Game. This is a woman truly on top of her game, and I'm so lucky to have her. She's been running various magazines by herself. She's a force to reckon with. She's somebody you want to hear. She's somebody who's meaningful, real, and a go getter. And I'm proud to have her on my show today. Parineeta, Sethi, I'm so happy to have you here with me.
Thank you, Shalini. I think you have been very kind with your words. I'm not as well what you have described. Simple girl trying to run a business in a bit of an issue at the moment with media, well, suffering, but we're all in this together and we're smiling and we're going to get out of it soon. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So that's what Pari, and I want to share with the audience. I know you will always undersell yourself, but the reality is she's a woman who has stood strong through way too many things. And she's going to share her story with us. So why don't we start with your story, Pari? Because I've seen you take over multiple brands, names, run them. Start with your story. I think that's inspirational.
Well, my story is like I always say that I was lucky to be at the right place at the right time. And of course, luck matters a lot, and it's a question of where you grab the opportunities. So I started my career as a sales girl, literally. I started selling typewriters. That was my first job, and I loved it. I enjoy selling. I enjoy meeting people. So it wasn't as if. And in those days when I started doing that, there were very few girls in sales. So I guess I had that little bit of an advantage and an edge with my sales because I was one of the very few girls who was actually selling stuff. So after that, of course, I got married, decided to take a small little break, and then again, well, I've done many things. I started a export house where I was exporting kids garments and doing pretty well. I had good orders and stuff. And then, of course, the stock came calling, and I had to take a break because my elder son Pratik was about to be born, and I had a few complications. So I had to shut the business literally overnight. So I took a break of about 2 years and actually 1 year. And then my husband got transferred to London, and I moved with him to London with a little 3-month-old baby. I guess being a housewife and doing house chores is not for me. So even while I was in London, I kept looking for some opportunities. I picked up some magazines to represent in India. So when we came back, I started representing some magazines in India. And then over a period of time, we actually brought those magazines to India. So the first magazine was a travel magazine, a UK-based travel magazine, and it did well. And then so on and so forth. Then we got the magazine for the Sahara Airline. And then as it went on, we started getting, publishing more and more magazines. Then about 6 years ago, we sold our company to a German publishing house. That was also luck. We were not looking to sell. And these people were looking for a luxury publishing house in India, and they approached us. They agreed to our terms, and we sold. So there again, I had a 5-year lock-in period with them. I stayed with them for 6 years, and then last year, the entrepreneurial bug bit me all over again. Which, well, I don't know, it's such a good idea, but well, it did. And we started Global Spa, PeakLife, Millionaire Asia, and that's what we are doing today. 1 year down the line, I have to say the magazines have done very well. Of course, COVID notwithstanding, till COVID came up, we were really going very well. I'm sure it'll be the same in a few months from now. But that's in short my story. And I always say luck has played a very important part in my entire trajectory.
That is so amazing. It is luck by chance for all of us because there are no coincidences. As I always say, there's a plan, and we're a part of the plan. And for the person that you are, Parineeta, and I've seen you supporting way too many women and way too many people, and that's why the luck plays a role in the life that you lead. But we've all been reading on Google and of course we
Mm.
know that your industry runs on marketing, right? The
Mm.
marketing budgets of every luxury industry or every product or everything has gone down. And therefore, your industry, um, I'm wondering, like, how are you all surviving and how are you running? You're running three magazines, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We're running few magazines, and we have a few very big signature events also that we do. Well, media is does have a problem, and especially our magazines where most of our advertising and business comes from luxury travel, hospitality, airlines. And to be honest, we all know those are the most impacted industry. So we do have, of course, there is a big break. We have no revenue at all. We are still trying to, do little things that keep us moving. But I guess we have to bide our time and wait for things to get over. But we're not sitting idle, not at all. In fact, our magazines were bi-monthly, but we have now started taking out the magazines every 2 weeks, literally, which is
Wow.
that we do digital issues because it's very important for industry like ours or a company like ours to stay current, for people to remember us, because it's very easy to people just forget and move on. So we have digitized ourselves to a very large extent. We've been doing webinars. We just did a webinar day before yesterday on the gourmet industry. We're doing one on wellness tourism. In fact, we're doing a series on wellness tourism. So we have digitized ourselves to a very large extent. And for me, that's a very big thing, to be honest, because I call myself a digital nerd. I am very much of a people's person. I like, even for our events, I like meeting people face to face. Seminars are so much more fun. But having said that, you have to move with the times. You don't have a choice right now. So, but my team is very, very supportive. We're all working from home. To be honest, I hate working from home, but I'm managing and I guess coping.
Well said. Well, none of us like to work from home. I'm still struggling with a corner in the home and a light which can fall on my face, and I'm trying to figure it all out while trying to do this. And now today, the signal because of the storm outside.
Yes,
So even my
exactly.
Geo is, retaliating. I'm like holding on for dear life just so I can chat with you. So yeah, it's not. So I think the technology will really have to upgrade itself. And Pari, I think when we spoke to each other, I told you the conversation today would be about go digital, which is
Yeah,
what you
right.
mentioned, because going forward, I think printing and publishing may not be the right way to go because we're all getting used to the concept of going digital. So, do you want to say something about going digital to the people in your industry? Because I know you've always been a leader. So, do you want to share some thoughts on that?
How much ever, whether we may like digital or like technology or not, we have no choice. We simply have to go digital because that is the way forward. But having said that, I definitely don't think print is going to die. Everybody says print is going to die. I don't believe print is going to die. People are still going to love that touch feel, especially with our kind of magazines, which are luxury magazines. The way you can see a picture on a large sized magazine, glossy magazine, you just don't get that same feel on the digital, how much ever good your digitized version may be. But no magazine is ever, or no print is going to survive unless they are also digital and very strongly digital. So I feel it has to be a combination of print will come back. Of course, not, I don't think for the next 6 months, but print will be back, especially, like I said, for the glossy magazines, for the high end magazines. But there is no choice but being digital. Now, the other advantage which I found, I mean, I was a person who did not like webinars. I always thought, no, I'd rather meet people. I'd rather communicate with them, have a cup of tea with them. But I found that webinars, now doing so many webinars, I found that actually now the world is my oyster. With a seminar, which you're doing a physical one, for me to get somebody from US to attend a seminar or to be a speaker at my seminar involves a huge cost. It means even that person has to fly and take time. But now it is at the click of a button. I am able to get the top people from the world at a webinar. Plus, I'm able to actually reach out to a very large volume. So there are many advantages of going digital. And we all have to go digital, whether you're doing Zoom webinars or you're doing. I mean, I just discovered a very interesting thing that we were doing a webinar for Citibank, and they didn't want to use Zoom. So they told us to use a platform called Blue Jeans. So my joke was that, well, I haven't worn blue jeans, but I'm working on blue jeans. I mean, I don't think I've worn my jeans for the past 2 months. It's been
It's pajamas.
pajamas and track pants, but we used the platform called Blue Jeans, and very effective. So we did a webinar for them, not a webinar. We actually did a session with some celebrities for them, and they had over 1,000 people who logged into the webinar. So there are a lot of positives to being digital, and like I said, even a digital nerd like me has no choice but to become digital. So what did I do? Once the lockdown started, I joined a course, which is how to learn the digital art, because there's no other choice. And I've been actually sitting and studying. A lot of people have been doing that, actually studying for things which they never got the time to do.
Yeah.
So digital is the way forward. You really don't have a choice.
I think so. And you know what? I love two things that you said, which are very important. One was, of course, upskilling, that the course that you're doing, there's no other way forward. So we can all upskill and use this as a silver lining in this crisis. The second thing that you said was that this is truly a global reset, Pari. This is brought us all together. And, I know you do a lot for Visit Monaco, which is very important for me to have you as a guest, because a lot of my audience right now, and I can see a lot of my friends, in fact, Shalini Vig is saying hello, Gunita is saying hello. And I have a lot of friends from Monaco who you don't know who've signed up as well. For them, you do a lot of stuff for Visit Monaco and Visit California, in fact, and I know that you partnered with that as well in the book. You could actually have all those people on board because it's all digital and we can all be together. And I'm going to say something really corny. A lot of women might hate me for it, but I was talking to somebody yesterday and I said, what I like about it is you can see us all from the front angle. We're not looking at each other. We're looking straight at each other.
I know.
So there's no issue with the side profile here or a side profile there. We're all looking up front and it's all good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another very interesting thing is you need to do your hair only from the front. Who cares what it is at the back?
And like you said, though the blue jeans, we can wear the pajamas because you ain't seen them.
Exactly.
So here we are, staying positive through this crisis. However, Pari, I still wonder, that do you think that you will be able to get I know you've had the biggest of brands supporting you, because obviously the kind of magazines you run, a Millionaire Asia, so we are talking millionaires. When you run a global spa, we are running global, spas all over the world. So, and PeakLife is as well a luxury magazine. So all these things, do you think that you will be able to have a similar marketing budget even if you were going digital? Or do you think people would want to compromise on their budgets now?
100% they will compromise on their budgets. We definitely will not get the same budgets, at least not for the next, I'm saying 1 year, but I think it's going to be 2 years. It's definitely not going to be the same. So every business, I mean, we are a mid-sized business. We don't have money coming in from international sources and all. So for a mid-sized business like us, we really don't have any choice but to be very tight on our expenses, and that's the only way forward. So we have to, like I said, I don't like work from home, but we might have to do that with a lot of our employees, because we do have to cut expenses. There's going to be no choice. You can't run a business successfully unless there is a bottom line. I mean, it has to be profitable to sustain. We might sustain for the next 3 months, 6 months, but eventually we have to have profits, because we have to pay our employees, we have to pay rent. There's so many things to be done. So I think the way forward is going to be that you have to be smart with your expenses, and you have to look out for the business. The business is definitely not going to be the same for the next 1 year. And like I said before, also, most of our business actually comes in from industries which are most impacted, which is travel, luxury, hospitality, spas. They are all in for a very difficult time. Like yesterday we did this session with very top end people from the gourmet industry. um, they're also suffering. We do a big gourmet awards. We can't do it this year. We do a spa awards. We can't do it this year. And those are actually our cash cows, actually speaking. The events actually give us a great bottom line, but we don't have them anymore. We can't even think of doing events of the scale that we do. Somebody suggested to me do a digital spa awards. But I said, man, it's just not going to be the same. I mean, that feel of actually giving away an award to somebody and that person actually coming on the stage and taking the award, celebrities being there to boost you and all, it's just not going to be the same on the digital. Having said that, on a smaller scale, we may have to do it basically to keep the business running. It's going to be a tough 1 year. I'm saying 1 year because I'm very optimistic. So it's going to be a tough 1 year, and we have to all sustain. A lot of people say that. I mean, of course, this is a little bit of a negative thing also. But a lot of people say that we are all in the same boat. No, we're not in the same boat. We're probably part of the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. If we look at some of the people, the migrants who are really going through hell, they're not in our boat. We have to be grateful, blessed that we actually don't have to struggle for food, for shelter, for other things. So it's a storm that we're all going through, but the boats are different. Different people are going through different things. So I am being very positive about this whole thing and saying business will come back. We are sustaining. I won't say that during these past 3 months we've had zero business. We have had a little bit of business coming in because we've been a little innovative, but it's been like, I will say, 1/10 of our usual business. But then again, I say even getting 1/10 of that business is a big thing because people are not even getting that.
That's very well said. In fact, one of the audience that is watching us is not very happy with the situation and is saying that before Corona, we all were assets to you, but after Corona, we've just become a cost, right? So, like you said, that we are not all in the same boat. Some of us, and some of us are casualties because we are all trying to survive this crisis. But Pari, I want to ask you one more question, which is very important. And I know that we're on two different sides on this particular one because you have the power of the pen. And I do believe that, and I've said this in every show of mine, that a pandemic ends when the disease is arrested, or a pandemic ends when the fear is arrested. And there's a lot of people that believe that due to the power of the pen, the media tends to hype everything and makes the fear larger than it is. And in fact, today, and I'm going to share this with you, there's a lot of cases that have come up in Gurgaon because the Delhi-Gurgaon border is open, right? So there's every community is getting cases and the fear has just become humongous. People who are sitting and having a drink together, even though social distancing, not physical distancing, not social distancing, are shying away from it. But I think that media normally, in normal circumstances, always plays a role of hyping everything. In this particular case, what do you think, Pari?
See, in this particular case, I won't say hype because it was important for the media to give out the right message. Because if that message had not been given out, maybe our cases would have been much higher. Fear in this case was important. Usually, I would say it's not important. We should not create fear. But in this case, I think fear was important because it made us all sit at home, stay at home, understand that this is not a normal situation in terms of just a small little virus that's going to go away. This has affected the world. So I think, of course, the politics of it is annoying, but I think it was important for the media to give out the message that this is something very serious and all of us need to take it seriously. So I think in this case, it was important.
So I do agree with you on that, and I'm going to do that when I end it before you end it because I, of course, have a message. But I want you to, Pari, we're on a global platform today. Like you said, we have people from all over the world watching us. I want you to give a message globally to everybody who's going through anxiety and apprehension in these circumstances, and of course, a huge loss of business because of what's going on. Do give a positive message to all those people out there.
Okay, so what I say is that you need to remember that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It may be a difficult phase that we are all going through in different categories and different, like I said, in different boats. But we're all going to sail out of this together. Uh, I know we are going to lose business. We are going to lose business. There are going to be some companies that are going to shut down. It's going to happen. But let's just say that there's nothing, I mean, it's going to get over. It's not as if it's going to continue forever. So the important thing today is, like somebody just said, don't make any plans for 2020. Just focus on being healthy, on tiding this over and moving into 2021. I don't think anybody has waited for 2021 as much, or the next year to come in, as much as we are doing. We have to remember that this will go. It has to. I mean, it can't stay forever. One day the vaccine will come. Most important thing is stay healthy, stay alive, and keep smiling. I mean, you can't do much about it. So you might as well accept it and do whatever best you can do. Enjoy the family, enjoy what you're getting, the
Yeah.
time that you're getting. So look at the positives and just make sure that you say that the positives are definitely more than the negatives.
Well said. I love that. So clearly, thank you so much, Pari, for being on the show. And it's quite obvious why I make the right friends, because you're inspirational, you're motivational. This has been the most insightful session. I'm so happy to have been able to chat with you online versus chatting with you on the phone, you and me, because I think you
Shalini, not
benefited
to forget
so many
chatting on the
people.
steps. Don't forget chatting on the steps.
Absolutely. So the next glass of wine will be Wine Shine Quarantine on the staircase, you and me with physical distancing. Yes, so I
Yeah.
look forward to that. But thank you for this insightful session for the audience today. I think it's super. And I just want to tell you that I've always believed in the concept of feel the fear and do it anyway. So I do believe that fear can be a positive emotion because it makes us take precaution, which is a necessity under the circumstances. We can't just go out there and say, hey, I'm invincible, because none of us are, unfortunately or unfortunately. So we have to take the precautions, but we have to look forward, move forward. There is a silver lining. Like Parineeta said, we have to stay positive, stay healthy, stay at home, and stay safe, and keep watching Shalini Says Wine Shine Quarantine. A lot of love from Parineeta, Sethi, and Shalini. A big
Yes,
kiss
and
to
that's my coffee. That's my coffee and
well,
your wine.
and my wine. Till the
And your
staircase. Yes, guys. Thanks for watching.
wine.
Until next
Bye.
time.
Thank you so much, Shalini. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Shalini. Take care.
Bye.